Hey all. So I still cannot believe what happened to Charlie Kirk on Wednesday. Every time I wake up, I look at my phone, I look at the news, and I'm like, please tell me that was a dream. It's hard to imagine that we live in a world where somebody will kill somebody because they don't agree with their politics or their opinions. When I heard what happened, I felt like somebody drilled a hole in my heart. I feel like I lost a dear friend. Charlie was a husband, a son. He was a father to 2 small children. Political violence is not okay. When you have disagreements with somebody, if you really want to address it, create discourse. You may not be able to change the person's mind, and that's okay. Violence is never the answer. And I remember years back when I would say violence was never the answer, that was one of the things that used to make me a Democrat. Because remember, once upon a time, I wasn't always conservative. Once upon a time, I was a Democrat. And I've always been against violence. And what's even more sickening were the people that actually celebrated or laughed or found it funny. And what I also don't get is there's people as of today, now that they've caught the guy, Tyler Robinson, people are saying he was a MAGA guy, and they're saying things like, hey MAGA, he was one of you. But question, I've looked at news sources, right-wing, left-wing, moderate, and one thing that it keeps seeming to point at is that he was a registered voter, but he was not a registered Democrat or Republican, and he had not recently voted. So please tell me, where are people finding this information that he is MAGA? I asked a few people that are Democrats, and when I asked them, some of them said he came from a MAGA family. That doesn't really mean anything. Like, I may be conservative, but not everybody in my family's MAGA. There's people in my family that just don't vote. There's people in my family that identify as Marxists, as socialists. There's people from all political walks in my family. I don't know if there's anybody in my family, in fact, that I see completely eye to eye with on every issue, even in terms of those that are more conservative, and that's okay. We don't have to agree with everything to be family. Are there some that I disagree with more than others? Yes. So saying that he was a MAGA Trump supporter, like the way people were writing it, he was a MAGA guy. Oh my God, MAGA, he was one of you. And even if you look at what a former high school classmate of his said, I will read it to you guys. One of Robinson's high school classmates, Xander Luke, said he was politically active and outspoken about people's rights. The accused shooter thought both political sides were contributing to a country being in a worse place and not improving the world, Luke said. So, if what Luke said is true, it sounds like the shooter was pissed off with both sides. And again, if he was pissed off at both sides, how does that make him a MAGA extremist? Hey all, so after I finished filming, I realized there was a clip that I absolutely have to include of Charlie Kirk in this video, and you'll see why. Let's roll it.
Hey, Mr. Kirk, thanks for coming out tonight. I got a question for you real quick. Up until about 5 years ago when gay marriage was legalized nationwide, the conservative movement has been explicitly pro-traditional family. Now, both you and your organization advocate for the acceptance of anti-Christian, immoral lifestyles like homosexuality and transsexuality, going as far to invite drag queens like Lady MAGA to your events. It seems to me and anyone who's paying attention that conservatives just believe whatever liberals believed 5 years ago. Right now, there's a push by the left to normalize pedophilia by way of child drag queen shows and... Oh, excuse me. Phone shut off.
Go back to your notes. That's probably where you saved it. You know, you got to like push double tap and then go over.
Right now, there is a push by the left to normalize pedophilia by way of child drag queen shows and rebranding pedophiles as minor attracted persons. 5 years from now, will you be promoting child drag queen shows? Will child abuse become part of the conservative platform?
Boy, that's a slippery slope fallacy if I've ever seen one. First of all, I've never invited a drag queen to come to any Turning Point USA event. I was at Politicon, and an individual by the name of Lady MAGA came up, and I took a picture, and she walked away. Secondly, let me ask you a question. Are you a Trump supporter?
Yes, sir.
So are you a proud Trump supporter?
Of course.
So are you sickened that he had a gay man speak at his convention?
Yes.
Then you're not a Trump supporter, my friend. Thank you very much. Let me ask you another question. Should he return the money of Peter Thiel, an openly gay man who supports his campaign?
No, if it helps him strategically,
okay.
Sure he can.
Should he stop talking to Tammy Bruce, who's an open lesbian that's a Fox News contributor?
If it's affecting his ideas, then probably, yeah.
Okay, so you say you're a Trump supporter, yet you have all these issues and these disagreements with him. Let me be very clear about my position. My personal position, I'm a Christian first and foremost, then an American, then a constitutionalist, then a conservative, in that order. I believe marriage, biblically, if we want to have a biblical and theological discussion, as articulated in the greatest book ever to exist in the history of the world, the Holy Bible. Marriage in the Holy Bible is one man, one woman. I also do not believe in the sort of rhetoric that some people engage in, that all of a sudden that they say there's no place for gay people in the conservative movement. I do not believe that.
That's not conservative.
And let me ask you a question. Can I ask you a question then?
Sure, go for it.
So, the American family, liberty, freedom, the Constitution, our history, veterans, that's what we're conserving. I'll get to you later, though, don't worry. So let me ask you a question. If you had your way, what would you do with gay people in America?
What would I do with them?
Yeah, because they're not allowed in the conservative movement, so would you just kick them out anytime they show up at a Republican Party? If you were in charge, like what would you say? You can't be part of the Republican Party.
If somebody is advocating for being openly homosexual, yeah, they should not be part of the conservative movement.
So I just want to go through the list. Guy Benson, no place in the conservative movement. Dave Rubin, no place in the conservative movement. Peter Thiel, no place in the conservative movement. So that just to go down the list.
If they are supporting open homosexuality.
So
yeah, no
I'm going to ask a very respectful question, as respectfully as I can. What does what they do in their private life concern you so much that you have to go up in front of a crowd? And
it is against God. That is
so. Let
why.
me ask you a question.
Are you a Christian or not?
Do we live in a theocracy? Yes or no? No. Do we live in a theocracy?
You said you're a Christian.
I am a Christian. And do you know what? And guess what? I will say this. Part of being a Christian is appropriately interpreting what the theological says for the individual, but also means to be long-suffering and patient and loving and kind. Jesus Christ talked to all people. Jesus Christ went and did his ministry through Judea and Samaria, and he had dinner with tax collectors, and he had dinner with prostitutes, and he did his ministry in every part of the Mediterranean. What it means to be a Christian, my friend, is to be open-minded but firm in your beliefs, so you can have that belief. But if you say there's something inherently wrong with communicating or associating just because they make different personal decisions than you, sir, are not a conservative. Thanks for being here tonight.
Okay, so the next time somebody tells you how can you support Charlie Kirk? He was a homophobe. Show them this video. I'm serious. Charlie was not having it when that person expressed disgust for having LGBT conservatives. And don't get me wrong, I do not hate the person that he was debating in this moment. Honestly, I believe I could convince that person that was basically saying they didn't want LGBT conservatives around the conservative movement. I believe I'd be able to convince them to accept gay marriage before I would be able to convince a woke person that Charlie Kirk was not a homophobe or anti-LGBT. So, yeah, the next time somebody tells you he was anti-LGBT, and if you're an LGBT person and they say, oh my god, you're LGBT, and you actually don't hate him, like, I mean, me personally, I have a very loving heart, in case you can't tell, and, like, I wouldn't want to see anybody get hurt. Like, even the wokest woke person, even the most annoying, like, I may roll my eyes at you, but I don't want to see the worst thing happen to you. I'll just put it that way. So, I really like the way Charlie stood his ground in that video and the way he made it known that he was not going to accept anyone being hateful towards his gay conservatives. And Charlie, I know you're in heaven with God, and I just want to say you're awesome. Thank you for being you. And here is Charlie's other video that I really like, where he gives marriage advice.
My girlfriend and I have differing political beliefs, so how should we handle our relationship when we have a lot of the same values but differing political beliefs?
Do you want the truth?
Yeah.
Do not marry this girl.
Yeah.
Do not marry someone that you cannot talk about the daily news with. You guys can laugh at it. Do not build a life with somebody where you cannot agree on what daily news channel to watch. I'm going to be honest. As someone who is married, when you have to instill values in a child, you cannot have the first elemental issue at 7 a.m. when you turn on the radio or a podcast to be disagreement. You got enough of that already in a home.
Yeah.
You need to have harmony. Build a life with someone where you have agreement on the macro issues. You can have disagreement on the micro issues. You need to agree on religion. You need to agree on eternity. You need to agree on political matters. You could disagree on what type of food you like. That's micro.
Yeah.
You could disagree on bedtime, right? You could disagree on the type of cars or where you vacation. That is micro. Macro, you must be in alignment. A house divided can't stand.
And I will say, I completely agree with Charlie there, because, like Charlie says, you could disagree on small things, but if you're in a major disagreement over a big issue, and, like, if your politics are completely different, I don't think the marriage could work. That's just my opinion, but if you come from complete opposite sides of the political aisle, I don't see how the marriage could work. And I also want to mention my friend Harrison. He made an amazing song in memory of Charlie, and you should go subscribe to his channel and you should check out the song.
Always remember all you did for this country. You're way up in heaven looking down. For eternity your spirit will stick around. Without you, nothing will ever be quite the same. But we will always remember your name.
It really is a masterpiece. When I heard it, I was like, wow, this is good. You did amazing work, Charlie, and you definitely got a lot of people thinking, including myself. When I listened to you debate, I saw your perspectives, you opened my mind, and I did rethink some things. And your legacy will live on. And may God watch over your family. And I do want to end this by saying, again, I am very sorry to his wife, Erica. I want you to know you have my deepest, deepest condolences. Your husband definitely left a legacy on this earth. And his spirit, his words, his kindness, all that he did for this world and all that he did for youth will live on. He is with God. I do believe that. May God watch over you, your children, and your family. God bless.
Remember your